Hello and welcome to Zgermanguy Reviews. I'm Zgermanguy. Sweden gave us a lot of good things. Ikea, PewDiePie, fjords, and that's it. Obviously, I need to update my knowledge about this country and its history. Anyway, point is, today we are going to talk about one of the Swedish author Astrid Lindgren's work, Pipi Longstocking. Pipi is a beloved book series for children. The titular character, like many protagonists in this sort of story, is a clumsy, often mischievous little thing, causing all kinds of accidents. Also, she is super strong. Because in Europe we are never going to stop being obsessed with the idea of breeding the Superman. The young girl is known well beyond the borders of her own country. For instance, she was once part of the Augsburger Puppentheater, one of the most well known in all of Germany. Dare I say it? I think we love her more than the Swedish even do. Come on, give her to us. You can have her on weekends. Naturally, having books and cartoons, the natural evolution of a franchise can only be a first-person shooter. Now, a movie is what we are going to talk about today. Can it entertain? Well, come and watch it alongside with me, my children. Also, her name means piss. And it's funny. We begin the movie with Miss Urin riding on a horse, showing off her incredible math skills.
2 mal 3 macht 4, wieder, Witt und 3 macht 9.
She wasn't our best choice for head engineer of the dark matter fusion reactor, but in this economy you gotta take what you get. We meet Tommy and Annika, two neighbors of the little redhead, explaining that the house across from their street originally belonged to a sailor, Pipi's father, but since he bought it, he left. We can also see that the voice actor situation must have been very different 50 years ago, as the two children are clearly voiced by two adults.
Es wäre schön, wenn da einer einziehen würde.
Hey everybody, let's play in the sandcastle. While the kids run to school, they tell us a bit about their hometown. The shoe workshop, the bakery, those two Mussolini impersonators, two criminals so the ratio fits nicely, and this lady named Aunt Bruselise, who looks after all the kids in town even though she isn't a teacher or anything. And before you think to yourself that this is a bit strange, this is actually how it used to be once. Children were raised by the whole community. There weren't hundreds of little independent family units, more or less disconnected from one another. The idea of the nuclear family is barely 100 years old. Anyway, after Tommy and Annika are done with school, they overhear a conversation with their collective caretaker, talking to the police, saying that a young girl can't be left all alone in a big house like that. Who said anything about being all alone?
We put the spring in Springfield.
The two curious cats immediately want to find out what is going on.
Da liegt sie.
It's the Wicked Witch of the East! Pipi is an odd girl, but they all become friends rather quickly. They like being around here because in Pipi's mansion everything is allowed. It soon became Sweden's #1 spot for money laundering. While horse and monkey stay in the living room, they play the floor as lava and just have a good time. During a big storm, Pipi's dad went overboard on their ship, and since then she was forced to live in their old house all alone. Usually she would be on the open sea with her father and visit all kinds of places in the whole world. So now I'm spending my days trying to experience as much short-term pleasure as possible to distract myself from the darkness within. They ask if he drowned, but Pipi explains that because he is so fat, he floated on the water until he reached an island where he became king, sending her lots of gold coins to stay afloat herself. So, what you're telling me is he brutally subjugated an entire island of indigenous people, robbing them of their natural resources and leaving his own daughter behind. I love me some family-friendly entertainment. The police show up to send Pipi into foster care. Miss Rebellious has different plans, however, and screws around with the authority man a bit. Which is easy because the policemen suck at their job. That's it. We are doing it American style. They told us to bring her in, but they didn't say how. When it looks like the chase is over, Pipi reveals that she has super strength.
Was machst du denn da? Was ist denn das? Was bist du verrückt geworden? Bist du noch von der Polizei? Warte bloß! Du bist ausdruckig!
Super Villain Origins. Throw it! Throw the horse! You have to! Throwing transportation vehicles is the law among superpowered beings. It's even a core gameplay aspect in DC Online. And since Pipi is so strong, the city and no one else ever makes another attempt again. I mean, isn't that basically the motto of every government? If the problem is too big, just ignore it. They mess around in a clothing store and break something. Pipi, however, throws some money on the counter and walks out. Girl has the attitude of a rich kid douchebag. Then they do what every kid with way too much money dreams about doing. They buy tons of candy. I am more interested in the fact that all the adults know how to immediately identify gold coins. But Pipi is a benevolent queen and brings all the sugar products to the starving masses. Take it! Take it! Take it all! Even you, kid with diabetes! They eat so much that they get stomach pain and go to the pharmacy. Cool, now we have reached Roman decadence levels. Next up, the horse and the monkey are going to fight to the death. And by the end of the movie, the whole town is going to burn to the ground. Pipi, the great corruptor. Next up, they mix a drug cocktail by putting all the medicine in the pharmacy in one bottle. This is a weird prequel to Trainspotting. If it keeps going at this rate, they be shooting heroin in half an hour and have one of those knife fight circles while another one awaits her fifth baby. Also, good to know that you can simply buy every drug in this place without needing a prescription. I will remember that. For a friend. And then she hands out toys to all the kids who want some. Yeah, I got nothing. No way for my screwed up mind to turn this dark somehow. This is just nice. Being so careless with her money attracts the attention of the recently escaped thieves, who ask her where she lives and then start to plan a plan. Later they go home to drink some lemonade that Pipi has stored inside a tree on a hot summer day. I knew her name needed to come from somewhere. Pipi is invited to a little get-together with the parents of her friends, but before that she cleans her house. So much for a place of wonder where all the rules of the adult world don't apply. If I had my own place, then I would let everything rot until you could mistake the mold for wallpaper. Wait a second. I've got my own place. Oh boy, don't tell my landlord, but after I'm done, he's going to need to burn the house down. The lively young woman tries her best, but as was to be expected, things turn bad pretty quick, as she has no idea how to properly behave around grown-ups.
Leck dich doch! Hey! Oh! Hey, warum helft ihr mir nicht?
Super Villain Origins. Later that night, she brings her pet monkey to bed.
Schlaf, mein kleines Kind, träum von Takatuka.
Oh, 1969. Oh, it was a different time. The thieves try to steal her gold but fail.
Kann ich dir sagen?
And stay out of my house before I re-wind you up on the roof. She builds a trap for the two criminals that will surely keep them away for a minute or so, and then invents a new word that she keeps on repeating. Spunk. This opened a new side quest for her, asking all around town where she can find Spunk. You see, I could show you, but then I'm going away for a long time. And now I'm just asking myself, does she actually believe she can find something that is called Spunk? Or does she know she is just annoying and trolling everyone? I'm not 100% sure, and that fact scares me. Anyway, after she spunked herself out, she returns home. While the three kids are busy playing in the attic, the thieves return and manage to steal the bag of gold. The young lady just happens to have an air balloon from her father with which she goes exploring and spots the two criminals again. She gets her money back and shortly after, Aunt Procellise invites everyone for soup, which has been spiced up by the pet monkey. I have to make a thumbnail with big red letters saying, "This movie wants to kill your kids." I mean, seriously, this movie is age 0 and upwards. Imagine you leave your 5-year-old alone with it and it starts to put actual nails into his food because, hey, that's what he saw in that funny movie. It's just a bit irresponsible what they put out there is what I'm saying. Before you start wondering if there is any point to this story at all, there is. Pippi's father comes home. A big party takes place. All the kids and sailors are invited, but not the adults because fuck them. There is, however, a sad fact looming in the background. Once the celebrations are over, Pipi will join her father on the sea again, leaving Tommy and Annika behind. Sad goodbyes are made, but Lady Longstock is, if not anything else, someone who does what she likes and decides to stay with her friends. And that was Pippi Longstock the movie. And there's also a bunch of sequels which we will take a look at another time. Now, because I'm feeling generous, and I just have to know what other bad ideas they can come up with. Not gonna do this in as much detail as the first one though, because it is built like the first one. Meaning there are a bunch of scenes that don't lead up to anything, so let's go over the most WTF parts real quick. Pipi makes them eat some kind of seed. They then recite a magic spell. According to Miss Anarchist, now they will stay young forever. That's because your souls are mine now. Also, please tell all your friends, I'm in fierce competition with this Peter Pan guy. Later, she finds a random guy in the grass and says that she is going to take him home and use him as she pleases, because, according to her, all things on the ground are garbage, and garbage can be collected by everyone. No, Pipi, that's called slavery. You are doing a slavery. Somewhere your father is very proud of you. The movie then very responsibly and pedagogically tells all the children in the world that when you believe enough in yourself, everything is possible. So Pipi demonstrates this by jumping down a cliff attempting to fly. This movie really wants your children dead. Well, at least I know it can't get any worse than this. Is what people say right before it gets worse. After this, they go up to Pipi's attic and play with a loaded gun. But at least it can't get any worse. She walks on stage at a circus and pets the snake. You know what? Everything your parents ever told you is wrong. Go ahead, drink this stuff under the kitchen sink, eat yellow snow, go outside the car window with your whole upper body, put razor blades in your eye, play hide and seek inside the washing machine and press start. It's all good. I mean, who is she? The female Joker? Wait a second. We live in a society? Always have. I think you get the basic idea here. Well, maybe one more. She tries to murder the two criminals with a giant snowball. So, summary time. Despite all my supposed discoveries of a dark hidden lore, obviously I am just kidding. Of course, the point of the story is to not be so uptight and strict all the time. Enjoy your time on Earth. What is truly remarkably good is the child that plays Pipi. There's just such life and joy to her, in a way that you only have when you are at that age. The other two exist. The film is a collection of short events with no connection between them, and that's what the movie wants to be, and that's okay. Art imitates life, and sometimes there are no great big events taking place. Just life. And while I am very skeptical about some of the delivery of the scenes that could give small children some very bad ideas, it's always emphasized that only Pipi can do these things and not get a single scratch. This movie is indeed from a different time. It presents a version of childhood that is unlikely to ever exist the same way again. It, in a way, actually helped me to better understand my own parents and how they were growing up. They are from a generation where media wasn't omnipresent and you had to invent your own fun. Meanwhile, I am from a generation for whom the sun is a mythological entity. Of course, children haven't stopped having imagination, but it was all the more intense back then. Despite my snark and some of the stuff that I can only see through a dark lens now because my brain has been ruined by the internet, I do get reminded a bit of my own childhood. As I said, my own youth was very different, but I remember the feeling they capture here. The time when you lived just for today, moment to moment, and everything was always exciting, because there was so much to discover with your young eyes, where you made up new words and spent the entire time from sunrise to sundown playing around with them. Meanwhile today, as I write this, my next 3 weeks are completely planned out. They are not too challenging, these movies. They are like watching old family recordings. You can make a lot of fun of them, and you should, otherwise they would be too boring. Or you can, when you are in the mood, just let them wash over you. Let you feel nostalgic for time that you don't even remember. Next time, we conclude the Pipi saga. That's a sentence I thought I'd never say. With the third and fourth movie. And yeah, there are also a bunch of cartoons and a real-life TV series, but that's stuff for the far future. The German Guy out and auf Wiedersehen.